Hello, everybody, and welcome into this AFC South show. My name is Curtis Brown, the host of the show. Welcome, all of my regular people. We got Isaiah, aka Duval's finest, aka the Glitter Kitty Conquistador, and the host of Third and Teal. How you doing?
I'll sub for a couple more, but Jeff's here, so I don't get the wet dreams of your mother or whatever. I'm doing good. I am doing good. I'm living life. I got effectively permanent in my position at work, so I went up another couple buckaroos an hour, which is very nice, very needed. Moving this weekend, getting married in basically a month, I think. I don't remember. And then things are going. It's going good.
Hell yeah. Down here at the bottom right, we got our Colts fan, host of Unstabled, Jeff, aka Big Stick, aka the source of your mother's wet dreams.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Yeah, we just went live last night, so check it out. We covered quite a bit going into off-season mode. Well, I mean, we've been in off-season mode, but discuss a lot of stuff for the off-season. So check it out.
Oh yeah. Down here at the bottom left, our new official face of our Titans brand, Titans Table for Two. This is Andrew Russell, folks. Andrew, how you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. I was glad that you were able to find the two completions Anthony Richardson had in that intro video. Both of them. So that was good.
Yeah. And then he's like got like a little bounce off the ground with his head when the Texans hit him that one time.
Yeah. We one time too. So
I see he conveniently left out by that 70-yard pass against the Texans. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
That's what happens when the Texans fan makes the
It's like his only good play of the year.
Even a blind squirrel throws a 70-yard touchdown once a year. I mean, come on now.
It's only been done a couple of times. No, there was 70 air yards. It was a very different thing. Different.
But he's the heir of the next player to be cut. So who cares?
And then the next one was 70 yards off target.
So you can't take it away from him.
We go from AR5 to IR5.
He's about to go to AR85 when he becomes a tight end.
Yeah.
Too fragile.
The next Eric Ebron, baby. You got it.
Too fragile.
So we recently had the sports desk drop. That's its first incarnation. We'll be improving upon it. Please go check that out. Let us know what you think. Head on over to Titans Table for Two. Hit the like, subscribe button if you're a Titans fan. Head on over to Unstabled. Do the same thing. Third and Teal and That Real Texas Team podcast. Like and subscribe. Trying to grow. With that being said, gentlemen, we've not been together in since the Texans got eliminated from the playoffs?
Feels like my whole life.
Yeah, it's been forever for you, Andrew, but for the rest of us, it's been about a month. So there's some changes that have been made.
Yeah.
Rand Carthon ousted as the general manager and replaced by Mike Borzinga,
like Sheldon from Big Bang. Borgonzi. Let's get say it like that. You work at a pizza place, you should have that down.
How long is he going to be there? A year?
Curtis at the pizza place?
No. He's already been there more than a year.
Yeah, Borgonzi.
I hope we can figure it out. We talked about this on our show, but once again, it's a forced marriage. When you're putting him and Callahan together. I was
the shadow GM.
Oh, Brinker. I think that they've kind of put a little clarity on that it's more like if there's a tie between the head coach and the GM, he's going to be a tiebreaker voice, but he really is going to be handling a lot of the non-football stuff. So Borgonzi can just concentrate on football and not deal with, who's cleaning the locker room and decorate. There's so much stuff that GM actually falls under his umbrella that people don't know about. So they're bringing him in just to do football.
Valid.
Okay.
So
So I know he was with Kansas City for a minute.
A long time.
16 years. Basically building 6 different Super Bowl rosters.
Yeah.
What element do you think he's bringing to the table that the Titans haven't been able to nail down out of the GM?
I think the one big thing is that he's been through all the different levels, whether it's the pro side, the college side, and for someone to be at a team for that long through multiple tenured GMs and still continuously move up is a big deal to me. That means they saw like every new GM come in and clean house, and they keep certain people for certain reasons. For him to make it through 16 years, be a part of all that, and continuously grow, and hit every different level inside of the scouting and parts of the GM job is a big deal. I think gets him well versed in what he needs to be doing at the top of an organization. He's been a top candidate for a while. It's just his turn finally.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I always find it weird that more people from Kansas City aren't hired out,
Yeah.
coaching staff or front office. But
everybody got turned away from the Patriots when they all their people started to flame out as soon as they left New England.
yeah,
I was like, no, we're not doing this again.
and I think
sure.
that's Matt Nagy for you, the Matt Nagy effect.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's hard to get USAID money to pay refs at every organization. So
True.
Well, there's was it who was the OC there for a while?
talking about Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy, yeah, like he couldn't get a job, but I guess they always said he was really hard to work with too.
Oh yeah,
so.
no. Have you seen the video of him in the lot? Like he was in the film room one time, and like he's just straight yelling at people, talking about like how terrible they are and how they're not going to play anymore. He's like, "Do you get reps? Do you start? Well, you're not going to with effort like that." Talk about like a special teams play or something, and like
It's like Urban Meyer kicking the kicker. Deal right there.
Talk about kicking a guy while he's down, stretching.
I've one real cool story about Bergonzi that he told when he got hired. Him and Brett Veach, who's the current GM of the Chiefs, had a really big hand in drafting Patrick Mahomes. Like they were like, this is the guy, we need to go get him, and they were picking like 26 that year, and they wanted to trade all the way up to 1. You know, the Bear, like everybody thought the Bears were taking Trubisky because the Bears do what they do, but they were so worried about somebody taking Patrick that they wanted him and Beach were trying to get up to 1 to get him. So, I mean, that obviously, I mean, doesn't mean whoever he picks this year is going to be the same thing, but I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah.
After the GMs we've been through.
Fair. Down in Duval County, there's been massive changes. The entirety of the coaching staff has been facelifted, save the special teams coordinator. Is he the lone carryover?
Yeah, him and his guys are the lone carryovers. Besides like Ethan Waugh from the front office, but he's just going to be in like a front office role. He's not going to be in anything like super major.
Gotcha. You bring in Liam Cohen, who immediately gives the world the best soundbite that there has ever been, and then
and the cringiest.
It's so widely
super cringe,
honestly.
And then a smile that goes with it.
You continue the NFL trend of bringing in youth. Gladstone makes the transition from the Rams to the Jags. Is he the youngest GM
ever?
He's going straight from his senior prom to draft night. So
yeah, I think that James would let him date my daughter. Gladstone is probably the new title. He looks like a respectable young man. He looks like he just got the valedictorian award, walked off the stage, and walked into the front office of the Jaguars. There's no way that guy got salutatorian either. He is young. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure we would have seen a headline by now about it if he was. But there's a good chance.
Okay.
But it's gonna be like, back in like 1922. Mr. James, he's coming in, 25 years old, leading the
the white guy throws it to another white guy and he's running down the field.
Throwing, what is that?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Gladstone is the youngest.
I was just going to look it up. Beat me to
it. So what was his role with the Rams before he made the transition to Duval?
He had a couple
IT guy.
things. Yeah. I know the last role he was in was like not age, damn it. Jobs. Let me see. He was the Rams director of scouting and strategy from 2022 to 2024. And before that, if this would load, good.
So
in
he
high
was-
school.
Director of scouting
Yep.
strategy, basically a lot of scouting stuff. It looks like.
So
Yeah.
he was basically responsible for what, like Puka and Jared Verse and Braden Fisk.
Jared Verse.
I think they said the last 3 drafts, he's basically like handpicked most of the players.
Nice.
Senior
course-
assistant to the general manager.
Yep. Then your senior assistant. I mean, it could just be like he was awesome. You know, I genuinely think, because they showed some videos of him like in the war room and talking about some other guys and stuff, and like he was definitely super involved.
Hell yeah.
He looks
I
like a
think-
guy that would like come up with some complex AI program to figure out who they need to draft. For sure. And then
He looks like
that's the way to
a
go.
guy. He looks like the guy that knows how many yards, touchdowns, rushing yards that like a player had their like fifth grade season of football, and is like tracked them the entire way
Just
up.
an encyclopedia
Yeah,
of
like,
knowledge.
he just knows. Like, you know, we got guys coming out of the draft this year. Oh, Trevor Etienne. Yeah, he ran for 562 yards on 25 carries whenever he was 5 years old in his first year in football. Like
At Maplewood Middle School.
In PE flag
he
football.
just seems like he would know.
Then, you know, with a little bit more of a hands-on approach when it comes to football, you bring in Liam Cohen, now currently one of the younger coaches in the NFL, 39, coming off a pretty solid season where he makes the Buccaneers offense take some pretty serious leaps in efficiency and yards and lead. I think they were top 5 in a lot of offensive categories.
Who?
Uh,
The Bucks?
Yeah.
I think they were top 5 in rushing and top 5 in passing.
Yeah. Pretty efficient, pretty damn well organized, in my opinion. Liam Cohen, another branch off the McVay tree. So what are you expecting Liam Cohen to bring to the table that maybe none of the other offensive related coaches lately have been able to do?
Well, he doesn't seem like an asshole like Doug Peterson, so that's a start. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy for you to be like, "Hey, Doug, what happened on this play?" And then you just go like, "You wouldn't understand." You know, I think Baker threw like 20 more touchdowns under him and like 1,000 more yards than under the previous guy. Everything that people say about him is that he really maximizes and builds the playbook to his players' strengths, not just like, "Hey, this is my playbook and you're going to run it."
Yeah.
You know, I think that he's going to help Trevor a lot because I'm pretty sure the Bucks were either number 1 or number 2 in pre-snap motion last year, which is very nice because we were number 32 in pre-snap motion last year. We never did that shit. And then even when we did, we still throw a screen on 4th and 8. So I don't really know what to tell you on that. But I think it's going to be a nice, fresh approach. I think he's going to have some nice, good new ideas. I just think that it's going to be a nice step up from the old style of just like, this is what we're going to do. Oh, that's not working. We're still going to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be nice to see. And I think that Yadinsky, the new offensive coordinator, is going to bring in a good amount of knowledge. And like, he seems to be fully okay with the fact that he is not calling plays, and not just from like a, you know, press conference perspective. Like he
I was just
actually
about to ask that. Who's calling them?
yeah, so Cohen is calling the plays. They've already established that. Yadinsky came in. He talked about it. They asked him. He said he is perfectly fine with it, and that he is just hoping that one, he can learn from Cohen, and hopefully Cohen can teach Cohen a thing or two and like help out. Apparently, like they basically give him the credit for how good Sam Darnold played last year. They said that he would stay, he would come in early and stay hours after practice to help Darnold and get him ready for games. He did most of the game planning for Sundays for the Vikings. They had a great game plan most of the time. And they just, you know, when things went past the game plan, all of a sudden Darnold couldn't hold it together. But
No.
I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a good season. I'm excited. I like Campanile a lot. You know, he's bringing in a lot of experience, and he was the run defense coordinator last year for the Packers, and they had, I think, the number 4 or number 2 somewhere around there run game defense, and it's they also had 2 linebackers in Quay Walker and or outside linebacker. They had outside linebacker as well that had their best seasons under him. So pretty excited. Yeah, nice young, energized coaching staff. Seem like a bunch of teachers, not a bunch of assholes, and that should be nice.
All right. Hell yeah. So Do you think this is the right combination of people to finally see the full potential of Trevor Lawrence?
I can't say that yet because anybody can come in and say that they're going to build the O-line. We've had 3 organizations that have said that now. Now, I do think that Cohen is going to do it because that's something that he always talks about. That's something like every team he's had has that. Whenever he's in Kentucky, they had some maulers. Whenever he was in, they already had a good line with the Bucks, but they had some backups play, and they played really well. We have a couple of offensive line coaches that are coming in that are really good and have been working with people. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think they're going to give us our best chance than we've had in a long time, but they're also a lot younger and a lot less experienced, and it's kind of an unknown. So if they come in and we really do build the O-line, if we draft some hogs down there and we start pushing people around, I think it could be. I just think we got to see.
I know it's early, but what are your expectations as for the season right now? I mean, obviously there's a lot to go between now and then. What would be a successful season for Liam Cohen?
I mean, honestly, I think with where the team is, I don't think we were really I don't think we were a 4-13 team last year. Like in terms of how what we had and what we could have done. I think that honestly, anything less than an 8 or 10 win season in that area would be a failure for me. I mean, the fact that we were going.
What if you lose more games or the same amount of games, but you see growth out of Trevor Lawrence? Because it's not all. I mean, the quarterback is obviously the most important position, but look at Joe Burrow had an MVP type season and they still didn't make the playoffs. So
yeah, no, I get that. I mean, seeing growth out of Trevor Lawrence is definitely important. I do want to see that. But I know that he's shown us too in other seasons that he can play really well. Whenever he has when we're actually scheming people open and we're not running 4 wide receivers into the same area of the field inside the 20-yard line. The fact that we were throwing to Brian Thomas Jr. 2 to 4 times a game until halfway through the season definitely did not help, considering he was far and away the best player on the offense. And so I think with an actual competent coaching staff, we were number 32 in play calling EPA last year between both sides. I honestly, I just think it's going to be, if we can bring in a couple of guys on the offensive line, I think we're going to have a much better season this year.
Okay. I wasn't trying to take over, Curtis. My bad.
No, you're fine, Pim. Don't worry.
No, do that. We ask questions about each other. Most of the time, I'm just an asshole. But if you have a legit question, ask it.
Yeah, hey, legit question, Curtis. Yeehaw shirt. That's not one of my products. What are we doing?
Look, sometimes those beer reps be coming in and they're like,
"Careful now, careful
you want a shirt?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
I got you. I'll bring you a shirt, dude."
Hey, Jeffrey, the Colts moved on from Gus Bradley, king of not sending more than 4. And replaced him with Lou Anarumo, who basically had the same production out of a much less talented Bengals defense.
Yeah.
But actually blitzes.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling? Do you still feel that this is a lateral move, or do you actually have some encouragement about it?
There's the fact that it isn't Gus Bradley is encouragement. It's, whatever. But it's, I told this to Justin. It was probably one of the most, because Ballard keeps saying over and over, it's all in. We're going all in. And this was probably I guess the least sexy thing that he could have done. There was Robert Saleh, who went and took a defensive coordinator position at San Francisco. Back up the semi full of money to him. Get him in the house. You have to fire Shane Steichen halfway through the season. You've got Saleh in your back pocket, and he's a great defensive coordinator. He wasn't the issue with the Jets. Their
defense fell off whenever he left.
Yeah, off a cliff. And if they didn't even call Saleh, I mean, maybe he wanted to play, coach in San Francisco, but
yeah, it's a hard get. You got to probably double his salary.
Yeah, but again, I'm paying Robert Saleh what he wants to come to Indianapolis, kind of thing. But I don't know if a call was made. We're not. I'm not in Chris Ballard's ear or anything like that, so I don't know who was called, but. Yeah, there was a lot less talent in Cincinnati. I'm not saying that the Colts are, ripe with talent either, but there are more names in the Colts defense, I think, there were with the Bengals.
Y'all had a lot of injuries on defense last year, especially your D line, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to remember it all.
So it was, but Gus Bradley didn't know how to use any of these players. He didn't know how to use Latu. There were even Zaire Franklin. He had him in coverage. Zaire Franklin is terrible in coverage. It's just Bradley's just a bad defensive coordinator, and I'm hoping that maybe Lou is just a product of just a talentless pool, and maybe he can shape this defense up. But at the same time, you look at how many points the Bengals put up and how good their offense was, and they were still, they still didn't make the playoffs, and it was because of their defense.
From a scheme standpoint, what is obviously he mentioned blitzing. Was it still going to be a 3-4 is what they run, right? Or they do like a little mixed front?
I'm not sure. I've just been looking at the stats, and I've been.
They're 4-3.
4-3.
Okay.
Yeah,
a lot of teams don't even go by 4-3 or 3-4 anymore. Let's do a lot of different fronts.
Hybrid and multiple,
the primary.
And Titans are big on that. Like you don't know if you're going to have how many people you're going to have your hand down. I know Jeff Simmons and Devondre Sweat.
But with this, I'm just hoping that he knows how to use, because Latu isn't a very big guy, and he was using him as that bull rusher. That's just not really his style, unless if he gets a little bit bigger. But it just seemed like he didn't know how to use the personnel that he had. I think Latu didn't play maybe half the snaps. It was just Bradley sucked, and I'm I'm just hoping that Lou, just can utilize this talent pool a little bit better. And, a lot of stuff has to fall into place. Juju Brents can't stay on the field. They were using Jalen Jones at I think he was like a 6th-round pick. He played good, but it's, there's just a lot of injuries across the board and not a lot of depth.
Buckner and Stewart were out for and Quiddy were all, didn't they all miss time at one point?
Yeah.
Ibukum
went down for the year.
I like, last year, so. Quiddy Pay obviously hasn't been everything he was supposed to be, but he's been a very solid defender. Yeah. And Latu is late. How do you say his name? Latu. Yeah, like he's supposed to be a decent season. Yeah, elsewhere, he had a decent season, didn't he?
Yeah. He was solid when he actually when they actually had him in the game. He did disrupt some plays, so you can tell he's a playmaker. They just didn't utilize him. I hate Gus Bradley.
Maybe he can go get Hendrickson for you guys.
There's a lot of talk about that, and it's like Colts fans do need to remember there is a salary cap. We can't go out and get all. We can't go and get them all.
People go.
And it's Gus Bradley, or it's Chris Ballard. So
Lou was only there for one season too. Like, how much of a relationship does it? I'm not saying he obviously has some sort of one. Like, even the Titans, they're talking about go get T. Higgins because of Brian Callahan. Like, Brian was there for 6 years, so it's a little different, than a one season thing. And also, T. Higgins is from Tennessee, so that helps out.
T. Higgins is coming to Jacksonville.
I thought you wanted Ted. Unless you wanted T-Mac.
No, I don't want T. Higgins. I'm just every Jacksonville fan's wet dream is for
the last mock draft I looked at had Travis Hunter going to you.
I hope not. God, I hope not. Oh my goodness, that would be the
just
worst
decision
we made in years.
Why? What do you have against Travis?
Travis Hunter's not good. Like he is not nearly as good as they try and say he is. He plays the worst competition in the entire NCAA. Dude, okay, let me tell you something you don't know. I guarantee it. Did you know that they placed 7th in their division, and they did not play a single team that placed above them?
Yeah,
they placed 7th in their conference and did not play a single team that placed above them.
You play who's on the other side of the field. So
he was terrible. He's good. He's good, I guess, as the corner. But if they actually played real competition, he would have got absolutely smoked.
I don't know about that.
Imagine if he had to play Ted McMillan. He didn't. Dude.
Who did Ted play? Exactly. He was actually. I'm not saying he didn't.
I mean,
he's played Oregon. They play Oregon.
They played Oregon. I believe so.
I think Ted's amazing too.
No, I think he's great.
Hunter's good too.
My thing though is Travis Hunter's 6 foot 175.
The 40 is obviously not a be all end all. And that everybody every year watches the 40 and goes crazy.
I don't think he's as fast.
I want to see. I'm really interested because he looks very effortless when he's running around the field, but also fast.
I think he's going to come in like a 4.4 something, which isn't slow.
Which,
by any means.
no. I mean, Golden Tate ran a 4.4, and he was fast as
But
crap.
my thing with him is he's small, and like he tries to play big. Whenever he blindsides people, he gets some decent hits here and there. But like if he gets beat on a route, especially physically, like he breaks. He's gotten multiple penalties from that. Like if he has to go up against a larger body receiver, he's just at a disadvantage because he can't jump with them. He can't stick with them and like strength. There's dudes who are like Brian Thomas Jr. would burn Travis Hunter every play because he's 6'3", 215
He also runs
pounds,
like a 4.32
and he runs a
or something.
4.33. Yeah, like it's like if he goes up again, like that's my problem though. Is like Hunter's small and receivers are bigger. If he plays wide receiver, he might.
But most
fine.
cornerbacks are smaller than the receivers. That's why they play corner instead of receiver.
Yeah, but the problem is that most corners who are smaller are like 195 or 200 nowadays. They're not 170. He's 175.
I'm just looking at Wikipedia.
Oh, they must have pumped his numbers up a little bit.
I mean, we'll see what it is. Did y'all find it
fine.
interesting? Because obviously he said he wants to, not to get off track, but he said he wants to play both ways.
He won't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he'll be set on one side. And
He'll have a couple plays.
Yeah, kind of thing. But he's going to the combine as a corner.
Yeah.
Did y'all find that interesting? But I also think that he's doing that so he can go to his pro day as a receiver. I think that's what he's going to do probably, but that's just a guess. I did find it interesting that he decided I'm going to go as a corner though.
Yeah. I mean, he's got like the most plays logged in NCAA history since like the 1950s or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, he's an interesting athlete. I'm not going to knock his athleticism.
I'm not knocking his athleticism.
Right.
We could ask James Gladstone for some info on him. He probably has it all locked up.
Oh, I guarantee you he does. I guarantee you he wouldn't draft him with a 10-foot pole.
Well, you don't. You dropped him from a phone line.
Don't worry, babe. All the guys can hit. I'll be outside waiting.
Oh man, now we're going personal.
I had to. I'm looking for warriors. I'm not looking
if Travis Hunter gets drafted to him, the next episode's like, he's gonna kill it.
Fuck no.
Oh God. So Houston fires Bobby Slowick after a very underwhelming season 2 as the OC. Allegedly didn't even tweak things from year 1 to year 2. Changed absolutely nothing about his game planning. And did not know how to, adjust at halftime. Basically, his excuse was like, well, it didn't work in the first half, but we're going to keep trying.
It'll work now.
Okay. We move on from him, who was a former PFF analytics guy turned, offensive assistant, and then kind of worked his way up the ladder. We moved from that to Nick Caley, who has spent 10 years in the NFL as a coach, predominantly as a tight ends coach, which to me, I think is the most valuable non-coordinator position that you can probably coach, at least on offense. You have to teach, the offensive line blocking assignments. You have to teach the route tree. And then you also have to teach, fullbacks and get really in depth with like the running alignment. So with Nick Caley being that and the passing game coordinator last year for the Rams, he makes a smooth transition into a Texans team, which is basically not. They're going to make it like I think he used the word of like a high tech a hybrid of what we did last year and his thing. He's not trying to make everybody fit into his system. He's trying to fit everyone into the system, if that makes sense.
Fit the system to the people.
Yeah, tailor it to what he's got.
I think that's the mark of any good coordinator or offensive game planner. Like, Callahan said the same thing this week. He said, I'm not going to go because, everybody's talking about Cam Ward and Shador fits Callahan's system more because he's a more accurate passer.
He's so bad. Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders would not be first round picks if they weren't attached to Dion. They would have went to D1 schools instead of playing for some NAIA or D3
To
school.
be fair, Travis Hunter was the number one prospect coming out.
Oh, he was, and he did okay against the worst teams in the NCAA. I'm telling you, dude.
Okay, he won the Heisman.
Yeah, he won the Heisman against the worst teams in the NCAA, and he won it over a guy who actually deserved it in Ashton Jeanty.
Cam Ward was up for it too. He played a lot of good teams. He played Florida.
Cam Ward played a lot. Florida was not good when the season started.
I know. I just had to throw that shot out there a little bit.
Oh no, we sucked at the beginning of the year. I literally was like by week 2, I was like, damn, it's another terrible fucking year.
They should have been starting that freshman quarterback from the beginning.
I honestly, at the beginning of the year, I was like, he's probably not ready. And then he played that one game, and I said, don't take him out. He's fucking hot. And they took him out.
Yep.
What I was saying, Callahan said the same thing, though, because everybody talking about Shador and Cam, how Shador fits his system better because he's a timing thrower, an accurate thrower. He said, I'm not going to pick a quarterback based on fit for my scheme. I'll fit my scheme to the quarterback that I pick. And that's how they play to their strengths.
Yeah. So does that mean that Will Levis had no strengths, or
basically?
I think Callahan was learning a lot on the job too.
Yeah, it was his first time playing.
It's not here for Will because he has all the arm talent in the world. He can make every throw on the field. It just doesn't. He doesn't process fast enough.
Yeah,
the game's too fast for him.
Yeah,
so
it's valid. But Nick Caley vows to make an offense that's tailored to what the pieces are in the room, and I'm cool with that. Offensive line coach Chris Strausser, who was on the verge of retirement when we said, "Hey, bud, don't hang it up yet. You should come be the OC or the O-line coach under D'Amico Ryans." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then that was bad. So I'm hoping Nick Caley and Cole Popovich can make a cohesive offense that doesn't look like a bunch of misinformed people just kind of flowing whichever direction. Back in the day, watching any sort of zone scheme like Gary Kubiak or the Shanahan system, every play looked identical. And the offensive linemen were washing everybody down the entire line of scrimmage. And there would be wide open cutback lanes for Arian Foster or for Terrell Davis or Clinton Portis or whoever the hell was, the running back that year for
Alfred Blue.
Yeah, literally anybody. We didn't see that at all, really. It seemed like a lot of the times when Joe Mixon was doing things, it was despite the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So now hopefully he won't have to work quite as hard.
Except for the Colts game, everything was wide open for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, fair enough. That's true. But you did bring up something pretty interesting, Andrew, that I wanted to talk about. Is it better for the Titans to draft a quarterback, or is it better for the Titans to sign a quarterback?
I say why not both?
Why not both?
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on which free agent you bring in. If you go get a Stafford or a Rodgers or a Kirk, draft one. I'm okay with that. Even if it's in the later round, Will Howard in the 4th. Like, even it could be the first pick or the 4th. Like, let those guys sit and learn.
Yeah,
that's one of the problems.
Oh, sorry. I just want to mention real quick. What are the Falcons going to do with Kirk?
As they said yesterday, their plan is to keep him. And then they always say, like, for the time being, or for now, the plan is to have Kirk on the roster.
They can't afford to cut him. They owe him. Like, his contract's fully guaranteed, I'm pretty sure, like the last one.
No, he's got 20, but he's guaranteed like 20 something more on like March 18th or something like that. I'm throwing a date. It's middle of March though. So they can get out of it for like half the price somewhere in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it might be like the first day the league starts, but I think it's the 16th or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you go, please God, no, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, even Derek Carr, then maybe you don't go quarterback. But if you're going to get one of these older guys that might are knocking on retirement already, go ahead and draft one.
Yeah.
Please don't get Justin Fields. Please don't get Justin Fields.
I don't want anything.
No, I'm genuine. Like, I am being 100% genuine when I say please do not get Justin Fields, because I don't think he's great, but I think he's good enough that if you give him a good running back and a solid O line, like he can do things for you guys.
We had the running back, but we do not have a solid line.
No,
that right
no,
side, the left side from center over, we're fine, but the right side is just that bad.
See, and that's why I'm okay with like the Colts exploring the Justin Fields thing. I mean, that they've been talking about creating competition for Anthony Richardson, and I'm tired of having, like, you have Anthony Richardson, whose skill set is running back with a cannon with not a lot of accuracy, and then you have Gardner Minshew and fucking Joe Flacco, who is a polar opposite of who he is. It's like Justin Fields, you wouldn't really have to change that much, and
I'm not sure I can think of
he's not bad.
Opposite quarterbacks with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, it was so bizarre that they brought him in.
Yeah. I mean, he did really well for the Browns, so I guess that was what it was.
It just still.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, Russ is out there too, I guess. I'm not sure what the Steelers' plans are, but I don't know. None of those guys spark an interest in me.
Yeah, and you kind of also answered my follow-up question of if you draft one, do you believe in the idea of letting them sit?
Yes.
Because it just seems to work a lot better when they sit a year.
Yeah, and like I said, it all depends on the free agent you can bring in.
Wait a little bit.
You're not going to trade for him. I don't think the Matthew Stafford thing's a real thing for us. You're not going to give up capital for a 37-year-old, $50 million quarterback.
He actually is not a $50 million quarterback.
He's not? I thought he's like 48 or something like that.
His contract right now is $27 million.
Really?
Yes.
But he wants 50.
He wants 50.
Okay.
He's taking team friendly
27.
You could probably meet somewhere in the middle with the 40s or the high 30s and still be in decent shape.
But I mean, you don't bring one of those guys, and then maybe you bring in one of the better backups, like a Jameis Dalton, a Marcus Mariota, which I don't think he would ever come back here, but a Marcus.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're probably drafting Shador, Cam. I hear it. They suck. You don't have to say it again.
Shador Sanders is fucking terrible. No. I'm taking Cam Ward. If I'm taking either of those two, I'm taking Cam Ward.
Yeah, I'm not very high on either one of them. I don't think. I think they're more of like middle of the first round kind of thing. And a lot of one of the things I'm in a lot of Titans groups on Facebook, and one of the things that keeps
Texans always just want to be us, man.
Shit. Anyway, I do it so I can post everything. But one of the things that's been coming up a lot is like, oh, well, if we're not going to draft a quarterback and we're just as bad as the Jets or the Raiders or whoever else that are going to take a quarterback, what's the difference? The difference is this. The Jets and the Raiders are closer to the concept of a QB away than the Titans are. Closer to that concept. The Titans have Calvin Ridley and
NWI.
He's
the GOAT. The GOAT. He'll be back. The GOAT.
The greatest Titans wide receiver of all time.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shout out to Derek Mason. Yeah.
I mean,
we had Randy Moss, dog.
Yeah. Shit.
Dude, listen to the Titans. Randy Moss, Andre Johnson, Julio Jones. They all played here. Eric Molds, D-Hop. D-Hop actually had 1,000 yards here, so at least it's that.
Yeah.
We are someone's like to the Titans trade for who was it? God, Cooper Kupp is like, well, he's a 30-something-year-old receiver that used to be the best in the league. He's past his prime, sure.
He's free agent.
It's perfect for us.
Isn't Kupp a free agent?
No, they're trying to trade him though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But because he costs so much, it's going to be like a 7th, 6th round draft.
No one's going to trade for him, I don't think.
Yeah.
The only way you're getting above like a 5th is if they take on a bunch of the contract.
Yeah.
Exactly. But To back up my claim that the Raiders and the Jets are closer to a contendership than the Titans are, the Jets beat the Titans. Hold on. The Raiders, get this, with Gardner Minshew, outdueled the Ravens. Hold on. The Raiders would have not been as bad if they played in not the AFC West.
I mean, they also outdueled the Chiefs until the refs reversed the decision and changed the call on the field to give the Chiefs the ball back.
Exactly.
That happened on national TV, and the people were just like,
They also
Yeah.
like that whole staff is gone too. Now,
I
we
think
don't know.
most of the defense for the Raiders is very young, and then you've got Max Crosby and a bunch of under 25 years old in the secondary.
Number 2 ranked defense last year in yards allowed.
Yeah, I know, but
But they
that's
also
mostly
have-
We
because
gave up all our yards on special teams. That's why.
and then the turnovers in short field.
and they also have.
But
Brock
to say our defense
Bowers
wasn't
and-
even
they also have Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers.
Brock Bowers.
Johnson. Powers Johnson is good, dude.
Oh yeah, he is. I wanted him last year. For
I
the
wanted
Titans.
him. I wanted him as well.
Brock Bowers, yeah, cheat code. But I mean, Jacoby Myers, their best receiver.
Great question.
Exactly. I think it is Jacoby. Like, I mean, they had Devontae, obviously, but I'm pretty sure Jacoby's the best receiver. So, I mean, we don't know what they're going to look like. They fired AP, right, and brought in Pete Carroll.
They fired everybody.
Hang on 1 second. I'll be right back.
I think Pete Carroll is a short-term culture coach.
Yeah, he's short term. He doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, he's a short-term culture coach to like reset the culture in the building and then bring in somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, probably somebody that's hired from within when he does eventually.
We're not sure what they're even going to look like
when he croaks.
Hey, who's their best receiver? The Raiders.
Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers.
Okay, which that's wide receiver.
Well,
Bowers is a cheat code. Absolutely.
Jacoby Myers didn't drop a single pass last year. Was the only person to have 100+ targets.
You know what other receiver didn't drop another Raider receiver didn't drop any? Henry Ruggs.
Well, it's because he dropped bodies.
Drop ball.
Yeah, we got Kyron Lacey, good old Henry Ruggs 2.0.
Seriously?
Yeah, you haven't heard about that?
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, he got in a hit and run that was fatal, killed 1 or 2 people. That was like back in December. Yeah. And they arrested him like a month or 2 ago, I think, for it.
Yep. He's done.
Yeah, somebody in a Jack was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take Kyron Lacey in the 4th round." I was like, "No, the fuck, we're not." And I was like, "The 4th round of the longest yard draft."
Yeah, longest yard.
Him and Henry Ruggs are about to find their way onto a team with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Henry Ruggs. It's what's crazy is Ruggs. I think he's out to get out next year.
Is he?
There's no way.
Yeah, he got 10, but I mean, you only do 40%.
Yeah, well,
and he has parole next year. He's up for parole, which does a team take a chance on him?
I don't know.
It's gonna be like
Cowboys, right? It's gonna be the Cowboys.
It's gonna be Too Fast, Too Furious, where he has a mobile or a fucking pull behind parked.
Yeah, just right at the traffic practice.
I thought you were on house arrest. It's right there.
Doing the roller derby. That's hilarious.
Before Jeff gets back, and hopefully he'll be back and he can jump in on this.
I'm here. I just got back. Sorry, my kids were fighting.
Perfect. Free agents that are leaving your team that give me one that you don't care about and one that you'd like to see back.
I could, for the most part, I could honestly care less about most of them. They ran it back last year and they were worse than the previous year. I'm over it. I guess the biggest one that I would want back would probably be Will Fries. I mean, I know he got hurt in week 5, and I say that because he was one of the top graded linemen against the run and the pass before his injury. So I would say he should be a top priority. I mean, that offensive line they were inconsistent, and it needs to be solidified. I don't know where you look. I would also say Ryan Kelly, but I think he'll be too expensive. I think Bordellini was a great back. Like I think he's the center of the future. Their tight ends, Mo Alley Cox. I've been done with him for 3 years. Most of these players. I don't give a shit. Like, if they're not here, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But I would say, like the biggest one would probably be Will Fries, just because how good he was before the injury, and he's only 26. So,
Okay.
Yeah, the rest can go.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
Andrew, do you have you got anybody?
Yeah, I got a handful that I'd like to bring back. Starting out, the big three of the special teams, our long snapper, punter, and kicker are all free agents. So, and even though we had bad special teams, it was never them; it was the coverage guys. So I'd like to get those three back. Like Ryan Stonehouse is a monster, so
Yeah.
definitely need that punter back. Even though Nick Folk is old as crap, I think he missed like 2 kicks all year. So
Yeah.
gladly bring him back. I'd like to bring Sebastian Joseph Day back as a depth piece of that D line. I think he played really well. He did really well in LA with Aaron Donald. He did really well here with Jeff and T Sweat. He didn't do great for the Chargers, but I think that's when he had to be the guy. He's a great, supplemental piece,
Yeah.
complimentary guy. And another big one for me, I would love to have back would be Quandre Diggs. He played really well up until he got hurt. We need somebody back there with Amani. If we can spend the less capital we got to spend in the draft on some of these holes, the better. Because we only have 6 picks at where we stand right now. Who knows what happens between then and now? I like Quandre Diggs. The one I definitely don't give a shit about and get as far away from my damn team as you can is Mason Rudolph. Fuck you, Mason Rudolph. Leave me alone. Never come back. Go hang out with Myles Garrett.
Jesus.
Besties.
That's a podcast waiting to happen.
What are you calling that one?
Unabashedly.
I
Isaiah,
thought about this a lot.
I literally just came up with it. Isaiah, what free agents fit those criteria for you?
If we could get him for the projected per year of 1.3 million, Andre Cisco, love to have him back. I think that he suffered, along with others like Devin Lloyd, with a terrible system for the defense, where literally like they looked like we were running 3 different plays at one time. And everybody like talked about how terrible the defensive coordinator was. But other than that, everybody else can go fuck themselves. The only reason I would bring back Scherf, I'd pay Scherf like $2 million a season to just like go out on the field and immediately fight Azeez Al-Shaair anytime he comes on the field with us. And that would be it.
That's funny. For the Texans, I've got maybe a couple free agents I wouldn't mind seeing come back for a little cheaper than what we got them the first time. Stephon Diggs.
I was
coming
wondering
off
about
an
that. I was thinking if that
ACL.
was going to be. He was
I
playing
think
well before he got hurt.
he was playing well. He was until he got hurt. It was him and CeeDee Lamb were the only receivers in the NFL to catch 4 or 5 passes in every game that they've played so far. That season. So his current APY is 22.5. That's what he got this past season. I think you could probably get a discounted rate because he's not going to be available all year. And even if he is, he's probably not going to be. He may not be the exact same player he was initially. Folo Fotokasi, I wouldn't mind him being like coming back and him being defensive tackle
Fucking
2.
who?
Folo
Runso Fatukasi.
Photocopy. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure every Jags fan in the world already knows what I'm about to say about him. He's a big space
fucking
eater, but
sucks.
he's often hurt. And that's why I wouldn't mind him being defensive tackle 2, maybe even 3. But I don't foresee that happening. I think he played well enough in the games that he was healthy that he's probably gone. The player I do not want to see back is Jeff Okudah.
Really?
Probably
bring him
needs
back.
to hang it up. Like he just needs to retire. Homeboy is not it. It's not very often you can just pick up a former number 5 overall pick for it, like within the last 5 years, for under $5 million.
Mm.
And there's a reason that you can do that with Jeff Okuda. Not good, just not good. Beyond that, I mean, there's some rotational guys, maybe Mario Edwards Jr. to come back.
He's solid.
On the cheap. I'm not going to be mad about that, but everybody else is
Is
not.
Autry a free agent this year? Was it a 1-year deal for Autry?
Who?
Autry, Danico.
It was a 2-year deal.
So he's okay.
There is another former high first round pick that you guys could try out at corner. Caleb Farley. I'm sure he's available nowadays, taking calls.
Yeah.
Him and Isaiah Wilson are hanging out.
Another former Titan just got extended to stay.
Elijah
in Los
Molden.
Angeles. Elijah
Yeah.
Molden.
We traded him for a 6th-round pick last year.
Yep. And they got a 3-year extension. So shout out to Eric or Elijah Molden.
Elijah,
Sorry.
him and Porzingis are hanging out.
Yep. Okay. Well, gentlemen, that's all I've got on the docket this evening. Do we have anything else?
Duval.
Can we do one for each team? Go Colts. It's just it fits. It's just so cringe. It's so bad.
What do the Texans even say? What do the Texans even say?
We're
Wish to the
gay.
Titans. We're obsessed.
We're obsessed. Oh man, that's funny.
Well,
Well, all right then, gentlemen. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your evenings. I know we're all, in a family way at this point. Baby Isaiah over here is mere weeks away from tying the knot.
Marriage.
The marriage.
he was checking the calendar on his wrist earlier.
Yeah.
Thumbnail's not working.
I always say that. They're like, when is it? I'm like, I don't remember. And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm kidding. I know the date. Fuck off. Like,
You just never say it. I know the date. Shut up.
I know the
You,
date.
you remember it.
Yeah,
He remembers it.
It's February 31st.
Sorry.
Oh,
the month
She
of
doesn't know
February.
yet, but I'm leaving. No, I'm just
He remembers it because it's the night of that. It's the day of the 5K. That's how you remember it.
she'll never watch this.
Oh hell.
Mm.
Well, like it said at the top, head on over to Titans Table for Two, like and subscribe. Head on over to Unstabled, like and subscribe. Head on over to Third and Teal and That Real Texas Team podcasts, like, subscribe. Notification bells, obviously, so when we drop something, you don't miss anything. And while you're clicking buttons, while you're feeling fancy, do the same thing here on CPN. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Be sure to keep an eye out for the next episode of the Sports Desk. Without any further ado,
Tighten up.
be good people and fuck the Titans.
Damn.
It was never the Titans.